So if you're interested in the AeroGarden Sprout and are maybe thinking about buying it or wondering if it is worth the money, I just wanted to do a quick review of my AeroGarden Sprout. I've had it for a while now and share my thoughts with you guys. If you're new around here, then hi, I'm Kiri, and on this channel we talk about all things micro homesteading, from growing indoors hydroponically to growing outdoors in the garden, and other ways that you can become a bit more self-sufficient and less reliant on the grocery store. And you guys know I love growing hydroponically, and so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to kind of review my AeroGarden Sprout and give some thought on who I think it's going to best serve. The reason I got my AeroGarden Sprouts, I actually bought 2 of them, and I got them specifically to do experiments, to test different things out, different nutrients, different pH, all sorts of different things. This one is actually set up for another experiment. So the one thing I want to call out, so it has space for 3 pods. Now, personally, I would not plant all 3 pods in most scenarios. And that's kind of a general rule for most of the AeroGardens. I would never plant all of the spaces. I have an AeroGarden farm as well. And in one side of that right now, I have 1 jalapeno because things branch out, they take up a lot of space, and it would overshadow a lot of other things. In the case of the Sprout, I'm usually pretty comfortable with planting 2. I plant the front one and the back one, and then I put one of these hole covers on the middle one. You can use a golf ball, anything that's going to block out the light. In any time in hydroponics, if we have light, water, and nutrients, you have a really good chance of having algae, and so the hole cover is there to remove light from the equation and hopefully keep the algae at bay. The Sprout's going to be a good option, I think, for somebody that has very, very limited space, because there's not going to be a huge amount that you can grow, but you can still grow quite a bit of stuff. I actually did another video giving some ideas on things you can grow in the AeroGarden Sprout. I will link that up above, but it does have a small footprint. So if you don't have much space, but you still want to grow something, then the AeroGarden Sprout could be for you. It is also, I would say, the easiest of the AeroGardens to clean. The grow deck is flat. There are no nooks and crannies you really need to worry about. Pump is easily accessible, which is nice. There is a water meter in the front. I don't know how well you can see that, but it just is a clear space on the front, which will show you where the water is. It is also good for seeing if the roots are getting a little bit out of control. In a small system like this, root trimming is going to be probably your best friend. The light on it is adjustable, and you would move it up as the plants grow. It does have a maximum grow height of, what do we get? 9.5 inches. So it's not going to allow for very tall plants. If you do want to plant something taller in here, you're going to have to be really on top of the pruning. Otherwise, things are going to get out of control pretty quickly. So on top there is an indicator of when you need to add plant food, and when it's time, it will blink red. Pretty much is just going on a 14-day cycle. You also have the control of the lights here, where you can tap it to turn them on. So another thing to remember is you want to keep the light about 4 to 6 inches above the tops of the plants. So this is where, even though you have the 9.5 inches of grow height, ideally you want to prune them down lower than that. So you're not really going to want anything growing higher than about 5 inches in here. So you can at least kind of maintain that 4 inches of distance, so things don't start burning against the lights. So the lights in the AeroGarden Spout are going to be on for 15 hours and off for 9. First time you plug it in and turn it on, that will be when the lights come on. If you want to change that, you can hold on the sun symbol on the top for about 5 seconds, and then the plant food light should blink once, and then that will be the new on time for your lights. If your light on the top is blinking for the plant food, then it's time to add it, or you would just lift up the front plate, pour in your plant food into here, cover that back up, and then just lightly touch on the sun symbol on the top, and then the light should go off and it would come back on in 14 days to remind you to put more plant food in. Some people find the lights on these pretty bright and they don't like it. You can adjust the light to come on depending where it is. You could have it come on while you're sleeping if it's in another room so that it's not as bright. It's really up to you. It's going to come on for the 15 hours when it starts. That's within your control by changing when the lights should come on. Sometimes people cover them up too with like a cardboard box or something with some aluminum foil on the inside, which helps to reflect more of the light back in. Just make sure you're checking on your plants, because then you're not going to be seeing them. It's up to you. But the lights can be a little bright, especially when you turn them on for the first time. It can be a bit of a shock. When you take off the top cover, I don't want to tilt it too much or I'm going to dump water everywhere. There's a little bar in here that says fill to here. So that's basically where you want to keep your water level. If your water level gets too low, the unit will turn off the pump and your light will go out. Hopefully you're keeping an eye on it and we don't get to that point, but it does have that safety feature so your pump doesn't burn out. If you are wanting to completely reset your garden, you're going to hold down on the sun icon on the top for about 10 seconds, and then your plant light is going to blink 3 times, and that pretty much tells you that everything in the garden has been reset. That will reset your light time, it'll reset the plant food cycle so that it would not come on again for 14 days from that point. So it's like a brand new reset. For me, I got the AeroGarden Spout, as I mentioned, for a very specific reason, to conduct experiments, but I do think it is good for somebody that has a limited amount of space and isn't looking to grow crazy big things. It would be great for herbs to have in the kitchen so they're handy, and we all know that herbs are pretty dang expensive at the grocery store, so it might be good for that. Or for somebody who just wants to try out growing and is new to this and isn't sure that they want to invest a huge amount of money in some of the bigger systems, it may be good for that. It would also be great to use for kids to get them interested in growing things. So I definitely think it serves a purpose. I do like my little ones. Another cool thing that you can do with the AeroGarden Sprout is you can get a seedling starting insert that goes in here, and it grows, I believe, 15 seedlings. So if you wanted to start some for an outdoor garden, that's a great way to go from 3 things that you can grow up to 15 to be able to move out into an outdoor garden. So the AeroGarden Sprout is definitely not going to be for everybody, but it is going to be for some people. If you'd like to know how to clean the AeroGarden Spout, I will put my link over here to that video, show you a little tricky spot that you don't want to miss out on cleaning. And if you're interested in knowing a bit more about some of the bigger units, you can check out my video up here where I go through the resetting of my AeroGarden farm and getting that all planted up. Hopefully you guys found that helpful and it answers questions about whether or not you should get the AeroGarden Sprout. So until next time, don't forget to enjoy the little things and go out there and make food grow. Bye guys.